So it seemed that most of you wanted to have a review on classification. So here's a slideshow looking at the classification of life. Recall that we can look at all of life as a tree of life and trace back all living things to a common ancestor. So as we look at this tree of life, we can break it up into three main domains: the bacterial domain, archaea, and eukarya. So looking at why we classify, if we look at the variety of life on Earth or the biodiversity of species on Earth, we need a logical way to be able to study them. And one way to be able to do that is to look at taxonomy, which is really a system of classifying. Break down all of living things into different classification groups or taxons. The largest one being the domain, then the kingdom, then the phylum, class, order, family, genus, and finally species. Remember that domain is the largest, most inclusive group, and the species is the smallest, most exclusive group. We can use a mnemonic device to help us remember the order of the classification system. So we can use the sentence, "Did King Philip call out for grape soda?" to remember the domain, the kingdom, the phylum, the class, the order, the family, the genus, and the species. To look at how we can classify a polar bear, we can look at the following. We can see that all of the animals at the top belong to kingdom Animalia. Then they're divided into chordates, those that have a backbone. And then the mammals, which would have fur and be able to produce milk for their young. And then order Carnivora, the carnivores. And then we get down to just the bears in family Ursidae. And then two types of bears in genus Ursa. And then finally the polar bear, looking at the Ursa arctos. We can also look at how to classify a lion. So domain eukarya, because it has eukaryotic cells, cells that have a nucleus. Kingdom Animalia, for animal kingdom. The phylum Chordata, because it's a vertebrate. Class Mammalia. Order Carnivora. Family Felidae, the cat family. Genus Panthera, and species Leo. So we can classify a lion as Panthera leo. Note that the genus name is capitalized, but not the species name. We can look at the three domains, bacteria, archaea, and eukarya, and we can look at the kingdoms that correspond to them. Bacteria contains kingdom Eubacteria. Archaea corresponds to the kingdom Archaebacteria, and the eukarya is composed of four kingdoms: kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. Domain bacteria, looking at kingdom Eubacteria, contains organisms that are unicellular and prokaryotic. Remember, prokaryotic means they lack a nucleus. They also have cell walls with peptidoglycan. Some photosynthesize while others do not. And these are really our true bacteria, and they're going to include things like E. coli and Staphylococcus or Streptococcus. So you can see the green are dyed E. coli cells, and then you have some Streptococcus cells on the right-hand side. Domain Archaea is broken into kingdom Archaebacteria. These are unicellular and prokaryotic, but they have cell walls that do not contain peptidoglycan. They can be autotrophic producers or heterotrophic consumers, and they tend to live in really extreme environments like hot springs, thermal vents, and under conditions with no oxygen. Remember, that means that they're anaerobic. Or they can also live in highly acidic environments. Some examples of these include methanogens and halophiles. You can also have thermoacidophiles as well. So some examples of archaea are shown here. Note the hot springs with the yellow sulfur bacteria. Kingdom Protista, the first kingdom within the domain eukarya, are mostly unicellular, but some can be multicellular like seaweeds. They're eukaryotic and they have a nucleus. Some have cell walls of cellulose and some have chloroplasts. They can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. So in a lot of ways, Kingdom Protista is sort of a catch-all kingdom. As long as they have a nucleus and they're unicellular, they're most likely going to be classified as a protist. Some examples include the amoeba, paramecium, slime molds, and giant kelp, as well as other seaweeds and algae. Here we see an amoeba on the left and a paramecium on the right. Note that they're unicellular, but they have some pretty complex organelles, which makes them eukaryotic. Kingdom fungi consist of mostly multicellular organisms, but some unicellular ones also exist. They are eukaryotic, they have cell walls made of chitin, and they're exclusively heterotrophic. They absorb their food, and these include mushrooms as well as yeast. Kingdom plantae are all multicellular. They're eukaryotic and they have cells of cellulose as well as contain chloroplasts. They're exclusively autotrophic, and some examples include ferns, mosses, and flowers. The last kingdom under domain Eukarya is Kingdom Animalia. These are exclusively multicellular, they're eukaryotic, and have cells without cell walls or chloroplasts, and they are all heterotrophic. That means we ingest our food. These include sponges, earthworms, insects like butterflies, fishes, and lions. So remember, we have 3 domains: Archaea, Bacteria, and Eukarya, and Kingdom Animalia, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, and Kingdom Plantae all fall under domain Eukarya. I hope this was helpful, and good luck on your test.